Consistency, man. You gotta be able to be consistent at all times. Like literally every day doing
That's
the
the game.
same thing for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like you can't. It sounds like it's the easiest thing to do it, but most people will find a reason why they can't do it.
Yep.
That's
And one day
like
turn to
every time I
two.
talk to somebody, it's like, yeah, but I got this. I'm like, look, you can keep making the excuses, but you're gonna keep being in the same position.
Yep.
So figure out whether it's from your financial standpoint, whether it's a health standpoint, relationship standpoint. Can you be consistent at something? Most people aren't
Yo,
consistent
watch I do Art Basel
at
on
any of
Iowa
them things.
City.
Most
Art
people,
Basel in Miami. Get a ticket, yo. They still got Spirit.
it's like the person that says that they can't work out or they can't eat healthy. You're too busy to live. Right.
That's a
Essentially,
bar.
you're too busy to live. So you're going to die rather than live because you're too busy. And it's the same thing with that. Like you too busy. Chris has said this before. Shout out to Chris. He said, you too busy to get rich. I get it.
Right.
I understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No problem.
and a lot of people are too busy to get rich.
Yeah.
Know a lot of people like that.
Well,
And it's never been easier. Like, do you know how much I had to read and study and be on charts to figure out just where to get? Like, yo, you don't have you don't have nothing to do. Watch show for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's the easy part. It's already. That's what I'm saying. Like when we was creating Earn Your Legion, it was like read. I'm reading all those things because I know you're not going to.
Facts.
Straight up, I'm reading everything so I know what things are you going to find interesting, what things can help you. You don't even have to go read them. This is what this is. Like we've done all this research every single week for 5 years for you to listen for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours for information that's going to help you. That's the easy
How many
part.
pages are you reading a day?
I can't, bro.
Can't even.
Yeah, until I'm like, all right, I got enough information for today.
but then also I want to challenge everybody too for New Year's resolutions. Try to become sober. That's important.
Yes.
That is important because
let's talk about it.
It's really hurting your brain, and you're not operating at the highest level possible. So try to become sober. Try to cut the bullshit out your diet.
Mm-hmm.
Stop eating fast food, McDonald's, processed foods. Just do it for a month. Work out 3 to 4 times a week for an hour. Try to drink at least a half, but try to drink a gallon of water a day.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is that you start to think at a higher level, and you'll be surprised what clarity it will do.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
One thing my dad told me, I'm gonna be sober all the time so I can be aware of everything and collect everything.
And the last thing is break up. If you're in a toxic relationship, break up.
Say it.
I want to challenge you right now.
Biggest drawdown. Yes.
Facts. 100%. Break up now. Break up now. If you're in a toxic dating relationship, toxic whatever, end it now. Do it now. I'm dead serious. See what 30 days. See what 30 days do. See what January, because it's going to take a couple weeks for you to kind of get acclimated. So start now.
Yeah.
By January 31st, I guarantee you're going to start to see life differently.
Yeah. And if you are in a healthy relationship, I'll play the other aspect of that.
Invest more into it.
Pour more into it. I've had that conversation with you. I've had it with my wife. Like I could do more. I'm going to do more. I want to be better. Like people say, oh, you're a great guy. I could be better. Pour more into that. Like dive more into that. How much better can you be as a man? Because if you're better as a man, everything around you will be better as well. So be better. We can be better. Be better. I just want to say this last point now that you go, because it's true. And shout out to Tabitha Brown. She said something to me very important. She said, we did the episode. It was powerful. And I was like, yo, I think I'm going to try this vegan thing. And she was like, look, how old are you? I was like, I'm 40. She was like, you've done it your way for 40 years. Doesn't your body deserve a change for at least 30 days? I was like, done. That's it. That's the line. I needed to hear that for me to say, all right, let me try this.
Yeah. But the only thing about trying to become better in relationships, that's why I want.
Not trying.
Sometimes you got to focus on yourself first.
That's what I said.
It's hard to be a better partner if I'm not optimizing my own personal.
Cooking.
Yeah, but what I said?
You said
be a better man first, right? Like I said, I know I can be better. so that I can make everything else better around me. So that starts with me. But most people, they even try to be like, I am who I am. Nah, bro, like you were put here with a purpose, right? And it may not just be for you. Like, yes, you first, but there are people around you that you affect.
Mhm.
So if you know, like you said, I know I can stop eating junk food, right? There's something that somebody's saying like, yo, I know I can stop doing it. If you know it, then this is the time. And I know New Year's resolutions people always start them, but they never finish them. Like, start it today.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I know I can be better. Let me try to do that.
All right,
let me do that. Not even try.
Let's issue a challenge to anybody that's listening.
Yeah.
30-day challenge. Become sober.
Yes.
Be sober for 30 days. Right?
No alcohol.
That includes Sunday, fun day, and Saturday.
Right.
No drugs, no alcohol.
Right.
No mezcal, no Molly, no Fenty, nothing.
No Tesla.
That includes New Year's now.
Yeah. Whenever you want to start, but just be 30. Be sober for be sober for 30 days.
And live.
Stop eating bullshit for 30 days. You know what bullshit is. I'm gonna give you a whole strict diet, but just no soda. No extra unnecessary sugar, no candy, no fast food. Stop eating bullshit for 30 days. Work out 3 to 4 times a week for a month. This is something I forgot to say also. Clean up your algorithm.
Big facts.
Read for once an hour a day, or listen to a positive podcast, listen to YouTube, listen to something, either read or listen to something for 1 hour a day that's educational.
Yeah.
And try to clean up your algorithm.
Can we add to that? I'm asking.
Well, I just got one more.
I want to add to that one though. Can we put social media in there?
That's the algorithm. Clean up the algorithm.
I'm talking about my life algorithm.
Detox all together?
Yeah, I'm thinking about my life algorithm. Like getting like people I don't want that type of energy.
When I mean clean out your algorithm, I mean clean out social media.
Okay.
It's like try to unfollow negative pages, unfollow bullshit. Like try not to like certain, because that's how they if you like things. So unfollow.
Or what about if you don't use it like a week?
Oh, but your personal life,
I don't want to be too extreme. I don't want to be too extreme because social media is vitally important. So it's kind of difficult to tell people not to use social media for a month. So I don't
not a month.
I don't want them to become monks. But then the last thing is the end of relationships thing. So if you could do those 5 things, if you're sober, in bad relationships, learn 1 hour a day, work out, and stop eating bad food. Try to do those 5 things for 30 days and see what your life looks like after those 30 days are over with.
We're going to combine be sober in your relationship. Well, some of y'all just drunk in love. Be sober in a relationship. You start seeing clearly like who you with.
You don't want to be in a relationship. You got to be intoxicated to be in the relationship.
Some.
I'm just saying that's a toxic.
That's
the definition of toxic.
That's what I'm saying. You drunk in love,
intoxicated to be in the.
And
vibe.
you know, for those of you like how you know if you got to ask that question, you should. I know it's tough, but pour into yourself. And if you're the toxic one, work on not being toxic. But for the fellas who need a bag, I'm like, yo, a lot of times because you're allowing certain shit in your life, like them 3 or 4 hours you're spending a week arguing with that person. Somebody else is taking them 3 or 4 hours to level their shit up in every area of life, and you may not get the opportunity again. I'm gonna say this too. Last, when you get an opportunity to change your life, take it immediately. I'm so tired of people. I wasn't ready. It doesn't matter. If the flight leave at 9, board at 8:40. Some of y'all want to wait 2 years later and like, oh, what do I do? You failed. That's what happens right now.
That's a fact.
Some of y'all waited to even go vote and all this other shit. Then you want to tell, why don't you tell them this when you went to talk to the Democrats? He's in office now, bro. You didn't go vote.
That's a fact.
You didn't go, bro.
And I will issue a precaution. Like I talked about gambling. That's something that's very negative on your life. This alcohol thing is very negative, man. Like you got to really be careful with alcohol because what ends up happening is that you're killing your brain cells. And if you think about it, alcohol is the only thing, like if you drink too much, what happens? You get alcohol poison. That lets you know something. You're actually poisoning your body every time you do this. So of course, everything in moderation, like I like champagne, stuff like that. But when you're getting drunk, what happens is that your body is not optimizing at its full level, then it's taking you a day to recover. So you're actually killing days of your life because it takes that's why you call it a hangover, right? So we in the holiday, I say that because we're in the holiday season and everybody, is party, is drinking, and That shit's really harmful to you. And you know, it's unfortunate. Like I watch a lot of these documentaries. I was watching a documentary about Native Americans, and they were saying like, you know, that's one of the main things that they did, right? Where they introduced them is on the reservations. The guy was saying on the reservation in North Dakota, one of the biggest things that they have there is a diabetes center.
Epidemic.
And that's really sad because it's like the Native people never had health problems like that. They was very slim.
Yep.
But the white man introduced them to so many things that they wasn't taking part in, and they turned them into alcoholics. And they a lot of turn them a lot into alcoholics, turn them to, you know, eating fast food, Kentucky Fried. And it's like, man, they literally just, whoever didn't get killed physically, they slaughtered them mentally. And it's an unfortunate situation, but it's the same play that happens over and over and over again. And it's like all of these poor communities, you're going to see the same things. You're going to see people that you're going to see a liquor store, you're going to see a Kentucky Fried Chicken or Kennedy Fried Chicken. You're going to see all of that stuff. And then you're also going to see the diabetes center. Like that's why that movie was so ill. Like the
Jamie Foxx movie,
Tyrone, because it's like when they did that,
who called Tyrone?
When he just looked and he was like, "Yo, they just," and it's like I understood the symbolism behind that. Like, you know what I mean, like we're getting killed from the food that we eat and the poisons that we put in our body. So it's like, yo, if you want to smoke, all right, but it's like this weed that they're giving you is not from the ground. It's synthetic. It got all kinds of chemicals in it, and it's not helpful you either. Like, honestly, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's gonna be like the medicinal marijuana, but it's like, it is a gateway drug. And there's a lot of people that are on K2 and they didn't start with
like
K2.
Crazy.
I don't know nobody that started with K2 or started with fentanyl. I don't know one person in life that their first interactions with drug was to K2 and fentanyl.
K2 back outside?
Heavy, especially in jail.
Oh, that's when they're the zombies.
Nah, that makes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, man, and then we got to talk about there's an autism epidemic as well, and
that is.
I never seen so many kids with autism. Like I just feel like it wasn't this many people. Man, I can go on and on. A lot of stuff is blackout, but man, you just gotta be careful. You gotta be careful what you're doing, man, because it's like walking a minefield these days.
Yeah, I started even in education. I started wondering back to when we were in school. Was it prevalent and we weren't aware? Or was it just not prevalent at all? Because I started to think like early 2000s, I started seeing it. I'm working I'm working as a teacher assistant in classrooms with kids on the spectrum, all different levels at the time. It was called spectrum. Obviously, it's changed now. But I just started like, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm starting to think like, were we not aware or were we just blind to it? Because I mean, even now the numbers start to define like it's way more now. Like I think it started out being 1 out of every 100 kids in the early 2000s, when it then went down to 1 every 50. I think now we're down to like 1 out of every 10. And so we start to look at what are some of the commonalities, and it all pretty much goes back to 1 out of 35. Something's happening.
Make you not even want to have a kid.
Something's happening. Could it be the food? Could it be? They haven't really figured it out, but.
And then it's mental health thing too. Like,
it's true.
You got to figure that. Like,
it's true.
At what? I mean, there was always mental health issues, but the rate at what we're seeing, it couldn't have been the same 50 years ago. Like, it couldn't have been the same. Like, it's like, I don't know, man. I feel like 1 out of every 4 people got some mental health issues.
I think that increases though, which is scary because. Yes, we just came out of a pandemic, and from a financial standpoint, everybody who's listening to this and probably watched Market Mondays financially great. I'm thinking about those young kids who went through a pandemic, the anxiety, the isolation, all those things that they're experiencing at such a young age. What does that look like? 5, 10, 15? We won't know the effects.
Yeah.
But the depression.
Social media. What is social media doing to your mental health?
Now you combine that with that. Yeah.
One of my biggest fears that will cause Apple to collapse if there's a global lawsuit about not only the mental health effects it's had, but the radiation that's emitted. And if that's ever passed, that'd be it. But we have to be very honest, like social media and time on phone has degraded the quality of our life. It's not in fashion because we don't have a sector to replace it. But if there's a sector to replace it that is no, and Apple has to fall on that sword, I think we'll look back. I think the social media and phone epidemic is just as bad as the cigarette epidemic of the 60s and 70s for our generation.
Could be worse.
You gotta look at the economic impacts of all this stuff. Like, what's the economic impacts of autism? Right? Depending on how severe that is, that the child might have to live with their parents for the whole life. So it's like, they're not able to actually work. Might get disability on a certain level. Parent has to. So, man, this is a very complex situation. But this economic impact of the situation, it got to be looked at. It has to. It has to be in the billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Even to have specialists inside of the schools. I remember at the time, and this is like 2003. Shout out to Southern Westchester BOCES. That was my first employer. They would pay $100,000 to have services for a kid. So imagine if you have 9 kids, you're talking about $1 million fee just to have services inside of that building. Well, what happens when that facility says, yo, we can't afford to pay that anymore? Now the district has to do it. Now the district is looking at it like, we don't even have the money in the first place. Where are we going to find the money to service the kids who actually have needs? This is why I said, like, if you're a parent or if you're an educator, like, you should be advocating, because you obviously know the needs of the kids, you know the needs of, from an educational standpoint, but from a lot of teachers or parents, like y'all know the needs. It's a real situation.
Some parents don't know the needs.
That's why I said teachers should advocate, because
some teachers don't know.
But they're working, so that, and that's another issue, right? But they're working with kids. They're working in a population, right? Like most times throughout a year, your kid is going to be in school more than they're going to be home with you.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you have a better advantage, right? You can see the learning style, right? Like if you ask my son's learning style, I'd have to sit down and do his homework with him over a number of times. What's his learning style? Who is he as a student inside of a class? What does that look like? These things we don't know, right? But the educator should have that advantage of seeing that.